We are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, and whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it's structured. Who am I to be? Who are you to be? And what do we have to do with each other? There are so many of us, each with different backgrounds. These are some of the questions that echo in the halls, classrooms, and dormitories at Valparaiso University. For the past several years, Valparaiso has used the National Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as an opportunity for campus discussion and celebration. Slowly, we have learned to acknowledge our differences and talk about our common experiences.
I think the whole identity of the university as being a Lutheran university is something we're having to come to grips with, especially in the face of the new broadening and including all different ethnic groups and people from different backgrounds, not just the traditional Lutheran students that Valpo is famous for. The thing I think the university is trying to keep in mind, though, is not just getting people who are Lutheran or who are Christian, but getting people who share the common ideals that Lutheranism and Christianity stand for, and that in the face of being a Lutheran college or a Lutheran university, that doesn't mean that we need to exclude people who are not Lutheran. It means we need to act in a way that is consistent with what our tradition holds, which includes trying to learn from people who are not like us in all ways and trying to strive for intellectual excellence.
This year, we felt that our campus community needed something more challenging for MLK Day. After listening to the stories of guest speakers, we decided it was time to listen and learn from our own stories. Performance art became our pathway to self-discovery.
I think the arts, for me, is what is going to be the catalyst for change in this society. Art, religions, particularly, not just religions, but spirituality, and businesses that have a certain consciousness beyond the profit motive. I think that's the salvation. I think when those start to percolate, then legislation comes behind it, and politicians come behind it and put it into a certain law or enactment. But I think that the images, the things that, the dialogues that are constantly in our head, the songs, is where you'll start to create transformation.
I want to be given the opportunity to see talents, to see how people express themselves. When you watch someone play an instrument, you know, you almost just fall in love with them because there's so much passion there. There's so much feeling that maybe this person never shows before. When someone dances, when someone performs in any way, when someone reads their poetry, when someone just speaks in front of a group, they're transformed. And it's so fascinating because you see that vulnerable part. You see that naked little sliver of them that you never see in real life. Oh no, never, because we're so, you know, careful to hide that.
We planned to create an hour-long performance work that would be the focal point of our Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. We knew everyone would bring different ideas and talents to our creation, and we wondered if we could push ourselves in new directions, if we could break through long-standing barriers. These are our experiences. This is our story.
When we just think of the community now, like the Chicagoland area, you know, a community where just people don't care about each other, where I would prefer a community to be something more intimate, closely related, closely associated, more along the sense of perhaps an African village, you know, where everyone helps each other out.
I did not know everyone at the workshop. In fact, at the first workshop, I was one of the first ones to walk in, and I remember I kept on turning around and wondering when I was going to see someone that I knew walk in also. And when I found 2 or 3 people that I knew, it was like, let's stay next to each other and cluster because I don't know anyone else. I feel a little vulnerable. I feel a little uncomfortable.
I think people need to be a little more assertive. You know, I mean, some people, like, you know, if they were sitting there and they saw me sitting by myself, they wouldn't just come up to me and be like, you know, hi, how are you doing, and have a conversation. You know, so I think people need to be a little more assertive and stuff, and be, you know, and be open to that. Be open to that assertiveness, because some people don't leave themselves open to that. You know, they're loners, or they just like to be alone, or they like their comfort zone.
Racism isn't this big, this is your water fountain, this is my water fountain. It's, I'm not going to smile at you across the classroom because you have a different color skin than I do. And so learning about those freedoms really made me realize that's what we need to tackle. That's what we need to embrace, though. Those freedoms are what we need to embrace, to be able to say, you are my friend, and that is where we have a common ground, that we are both human beings.
We planned the performance through a series of workshops, each designed to evoke different answers to our central question: what is the cost of freedom?
Being vulnerable in this process is absolutely fundamental to the creation of the work. When we are vulnerable with each other, and when we give another person the responsibility, as we give ourselves the responsibility of opening up those barriers and sharing that vulnerability, we also give the other the opportunity to explore not only who we are, but who they are, and give them the opportunity to hold us in high regard, hold each other in high regard, and to hold our trust, to honor our fears, to celebrate our successes, to celebrate our strengths, and also to engage the other in partnership.
The students, faculty, and staff who attended the workshops laid the groundwork for 4 areas that would make up our performance: music, speech, movement, and writing.
We are the people that have chosen to show up at this workshop. We are the people who have decided to commit our afternoon to working together. And so we work together. We, you know, through some of these idea brainstorming processes, we made connections just by being able to share thoughts. And it wasn't, here's a new theorem for you to write down in your notebooks. It was, here's something that happened to me in my personal life.
I really prefer situations where you don't have to fit into a certain mode. Whereas if you go to class, you can't really blurt out a joke or just, you know, lay on the floor or whatever. Whereas at the workshop, we were able, you know, put your chairs in a circle. You can lay in the middle of the circle if you wanted to. They could just call you up at a moment, so you really don't have ideas to have any preconceived notions. You just, you know, you're able to relax, just be yourself.
We met 3 times during the fall semester, and people who couldn't attend workshops shared their thoughts via email or by sending things to the organizers. We also collected information by placing big sheets of paper out for people to write on. All of the ideas people shared were woven into a script for our MLK Day performance. The rehearsal for the performance was an intensive 2-day period. Although we had a rough script, we still had a lot of work to do.
Start at the top, and you'll end here. There's no setup.
Okay.
Okay. I'll have to give you these notes. You can't see them because I have my bass tuned differently. Oops, sorry.
And just move, pick up your one and leave your other one down. Can you see what I'm doing? There you go. Yep, that's it.
We got off here.
There is a bomb in the and make us, to heal and make us, to heal and make us whole. There is a balm, wounded road. There is a balm.
Although our performance was only part of the process of building a stronger campus community, it was a crucial part.
I've thought a lot about theater and the arts and how they affect the community this year. And I realized that, you can be talked at for a long time, but you don't feel anything. You get angry. You say, why are you telling me this? You don't even understand our community. You're not here to see what the problems are. But if the students are up there and they perform something and people in the audience say, well, no, that's wrong. I'm not sure they can say that's wrong because it's the students and this community that created it. They are the ones that said, yes, this is how I feel. This is the price of freedom to me.
The artistic performance was both a mirror and a bridge for all of us. A mirror reflecting ourselves back to the greater group, and a bridge offering each of us a way into the whole.
How long?
How much? Does it cost?
How much?
How many? Must we lose?
How far?
Balm is getting rid of all forms of group identity that lead us to deny our common humanity.
Amen. Do you have a balm?
A balm is to be forgiving to ourselves and forgiving to others.
I'm alive, I'm alive.
to bring us back to education for a moment, that's the reason why we do theater in the university, because it gives people the chance who are on stage to feel that they are part of something being born new.
I think oftentimes when you listen to a lecture, they're so caught up on facts and maybe not emotions. And sometimes when you watch things like, you know, plays or things of that nature in different art, you can relate to it because it brings it down to a level of reality. You know, I mean, not all the time, but oftentimes it does. And so then maybe that's more like, okay, you know, I understand that, I get that, I can relate to that.
I think part of what made this event such a good thing on the campus was that it did not stand by itself. It was in the context of the entire day, and that day was in the context of a short tradition now of setting aside MLK Day as a special day of reflection and learning on the campus.
People will be like, oh, you know Ike, he's about this tall, he drives the Explorer. Yeah, today he was wearing, you know, he likes Nikes, plays on the football team. Why don't you say the African-American male? Why is there that fear? Why is there that phobia? Or the other thing that people say is, oh, Ike, he's about this tall, drives the Explorer. You know that black guy?
I've taken sociology classes and teachers have referred to Mexican Americans as Chicanos. What does that mean? Who would fall under that? What is a Chicano? I mean, who made that word up?
The understanding that King brought to the people who wanted to react and says, you know, you're not going to victimize me and I will hate you for it. He says, well, don't allow the victimization, but understand that we're all in different levels of growth and different levels of consciousness. And that if you can realize that when you look at the person who has been abusive, if you look at them, that they are in a certain level of development and that they too one day will wake up and come to a clear understanding of who you are in terms of their brothers or sisters. For me, it allowed more tolerance and patience. It wasn't just, okay, you could hit me and I won't hit you back because, you know, it's what I should do. I understood the concept behind it. It gave me, when a kid walks up to you and steps on your toe or does something, you still are angry, but you realize it's a kid who doesn't have the level of maturity yet to understand. So it made it easier for me to deal with some of the bigotry and hatred and violence that I experienced.
Something too, I think for our community has been this business of getting beyond traditional boundaries. And I think like a lot of groups, we had come to a sticking place where we had gone so far and weren't able to get any further, and continue to be very frustrated by the fact that we were trying but not getting any further, not getting any place, not speaking in words that we were understanding or hearing. And I think this leap of faith in using art as a way to get us to see things in new ways and think about things in different sorts of ways has been what has pushed us as a community into those new places that we couldn't get before.
Through this process, we discovered there are many threads that tie us together. We learned how to make meaningful connections, how to share our name and accept another's in return. We learned to see our community as a beautifully colored, interwoven group of people working to discover ourselves and each other. We learned what the price of freedom is for each of us and for all of us. We are tied together in a single garment of destiny.